It's Friday evening in the historic city of Philadelphia. As the work week winds down and the sun sets, a new kind of history is set to be made here. Over the course of the next 2 days, the largest continuous concrete pour in Philadelphia history will be executed by Thomas P. Carney Construction and Silvi Concrete. The massive foundation will support the new 54-story W-Element Hotel and Residences. The building will stand a mere block from City Hall and less than an alley width away from the Ritz-Carlton in the heart of Center City, Philadelphia. Scheduled to begin at midnight Friday, everyone is feeling the pressure. They must ensure the concrete is the correct consistency and finish the pour in time to clean and reopen the streets before the Monday morning rush hour. But there's a problem. One the crew couldn't have foreseen, and one they can't control. Starting around 8:30, the first of several protests unrelated to the project is staged right by City Hall. 15th Street, the one providing the concrete trucks their primary access to the site, is blocked and shut off. These protests will go on to delay the preparations and the start of the pour. Now it's almost midnight. Mike Carney Jr., superintendent for T.P. Carney, weighs in on the preparation.
So far the preparation's good. It's normal. We have the pump trucks here, which you can see up there. Right now everything's still on schedule and everything seems to look good.
As the start time draws closer, the Carney and Silvi teams meet on site to go over the plan of attack one last time before game time. With the demonstrators gone, the Philadelphia Police Department can now close the streets leading to the site to prepare for the arrival of the trucks.
So what types of closures has the PPD put in place to help make this flow a lot easier?
Well, we have about a block radius around where you're actually doing the pour, and we have officers stationed and positioned in those places to watch the pedestrian safety and also to make sure traffic is not getting through and interfering with the progress.
To make a continuous pour of this scale happen in this time frame, the concrete will have to be brought in from multiple plants in both Pennsylvania and New Jersey simultaneously. It's a complicated but critical choreography. Silvi team members Jeff Davis and Kristen Lovins prepare for the task back at Silvi's central plant in Fairless Hills, Pennsylvania. From here, they'll dispatch and track over 75 trucks throughout the pour.
The job tonight's going to be a challenge that it'll be another feather in our cap because we know we're going to come out of it on top.
Back in Center City, the site is being prepared for the arrival of the trucks while the team checks on their ETA. Finally, at 1:36 a.m., the first concrete trucks arrive. The first truck lubricates the pumps with grout. The second offloads the first batch of concrete into the hopper, and the pour officially begins. Now it's a race against the clock. Throughout the night, the hole is steadily filled as more and more trucks arrive, offload, and make their way back to the plants. It's a long but productive night. As the sun begins to rise, trucks continue to stream into the city, many of them crossing over the iconic Ben Franklin Bridge from New Jersey. By mid-morning, the pour has hit its stride. Some of the team members take a moment to reflect on the progress so far and the project as a whole.
Well, we ran into a little snag at the very beginning because there was a protest out here this morning at 12 a.m. and the whole street was blocked off. So that put us behind an hour and a half in the start of this pour. And as you know, it's a huge pour. It's the biggest pour in the history of Philadelphia for a mat pour. It's going to be 6,000 yards of concrete going into this project. That's 600 truckloads of concrete, and you can see the traffic all around us that we're dealing with. So we started here last night at midnight, and our original goal was to get done in 16 hours, but we know it's going to go a little bit past that.
This is the toughest piece of real estate in Philadelphia to deliver concrete to. And even though it's a Friday night and a Saturday morning, the challenges here are unique. And as you can see from some of the background traffic, here it is 10 o'clock on a Saturday morning, and we're fighting just to get through traffic lights.
Throughout the day, the team continues to fight the traffic. As the pour progresses, another struggle takes shape. The struggle to move the concrete mix through the pumps. To maintain its strength, the concrete mix is a tough one by design, and it's not able to be pumped as quickly as the team had hoped. Instead of pumping 400 yards an hour, they're running about half that. It's looking like the pour may now last a full 24 hours.
This mix is a very tough mix because you can't add any water to it, which is unusual for most concrete pours. And we have to add more of this super plasticizer mix, which is a very, very sticky mix. So there's a fine line between adding too much and adding not enough to get this mix to pump and maintain its strength for the life of the concrete.
As far as what we didn't anticipate was how difficult the concrete was going to be to pump. Our pumps are working twice as hard as they normally would. We normally have them at 150 pounds of pressure. We now have 300 pounds of pressure just to move the materials through.
It's not an insurmountable obstacle, but all hands are on deck to ensure it doesn't slow things down too much. Another challenge is the need to avoid thermal cracking in the slab, as any weakness could spell disaster for the structure it supports. The team was prepared for this challenge, and the plan is working out well.
The biggest challenge in a mass concrete pour is keeping the concrete cool. Due to the heat of hydration, the temperature of this concrete can actually get up over 200 degrees. By comparison, the water coming out of your tap is about 130 or 40. So the actual concrete can get to a point at 200. So you have to have a cooling system. Our cooling system is working very, very well. It is putting chilled water into about 5 miles of pipe that are in the concrete and keeping it down to about, right now, a reaction time of about 83 degrees.
As the pour continues and more rebar begins to disappear under the surface of the fresh slab, the sheer scale of the operation becomes clearer and clearer. TP Kearney's Superintendent Dennis Hart puts the numbers in perspective.
6,000 cubic yards of concrete weighs approximately 150 pounds a cubic foot. So the concrete that went into this foundation weighs about 24 million pounds. There's 620 tons of reinforcing steel that are in this mat. And that's 9 foot thick at its thickest point, 8 foot in the middle, and 5'6" at its thinnest point on the north side.
The hours pass, and the hole continues to fill. Later that afternoon, another unexpected hurdle arises. A roof fire breaks out at a restaurant 3 blocks away. It's small, but the street has to be closed, further complicating the flow of the concrete trucks. It's almost midnight on Saturday when Mike Kearney delivers his next progress update.
So as of right now, we have about 480 trucks pumped in place. That's 4,800 cubic yards. We have a total of 6,000 cubic yards to go in. And we've been pumping for about 20 hours now, and we expect to be pumping for about another 5 hours to finish the pour.
As day breaks over City Hall on Sunday morning, the end of the pour is in sight. At 6:45 a.m., the last truck arrives and offloads into the hopper. Once it's through the pump, Kearney's men put the finishing touches on the giant slab's surface and begin the cleanup process. Monday morning arrives. The sun rises. People and cars begin to surge back into Center City, unimpeded by the massive concrete pour that is now a part of Philadelphia's history. His voice hoarse from an exhausting but exhilarating weekend of work, T.P. Kearney General Foreman Bob Hart sums up the job.
And then we worked for 36 hours straight, nonstop, pouring the most concrete that they ever got poured in one time in Philadelphia by the best people that could put it in. I've never done anything on this scale, and nobody that worked here ever did anything on this scale. We did it together, so it was great.